The question arises about injection and submucosal injection and how do we do it? What tools should we use? What fluid should we inject? And traditionally, endoscopists have used saline as the submucosal injectate. But I think we're realizing that it's better to move away from that because saline has a tendency to dissipate laterally and to not persist in the submucosa as long as a more viscous solution. What we're shooting for is a submucosal injection mound that has a significant amount of height to it and also stays concentrated under the lesion. It tends to not spread laterally. So a more viscous solution does that better. The other thing that we want to have is a contrast agent in there. The contrast agent serves a couple of purposes. One is that it delineates the border of the lesion very well. This is critical for serrated class lesions because it allows us to track every pit of the serrated lesion, make sure that we get it all. So those are the two key features of a good submucosal injection fluid, that it's more viscous in quality and that it has a contrast agent. I like to use a 23 gauge needle rather than 25 gauge needle because a more viscous solution is easier to push for the technician to push the fluid into the submucosa. The technique that I use is to place the needle on the mucosal surface, right on the surface, at the point that you've decided is going to give you the best injection. The whole idea is that the injection should make the resection easier. So as long as there's no cancer, in many cases for a relatively small lesion that's say 2 to 4 centimeters in size, the best place to inject is through the lesion, oftentimes a little bit toward the anatomic proximal side and sort of get it to flip up at you. Other times, if it's draped over a fold, you may want to start at the very proximal edge on the other side of the fold. If you have a great big lesion that goes 10 centimeters, usually start at the distal end, inject, resect, then inject again, resect, and keep moving until you get across the lesion. So we put the needle on the desired location. We start to push the fluid through the needle and then advance the needle through the mucosa. And as the needle tip enters the submucosal space will expand, and basically that injecting as we're inserting identifies the submucosa for us. Then we want to do what we call the dynamic phase of injection. And that means that as the mound starts to develop, we actually lift the needle up toward the lumen. So we're actually directing the fluid into the upper submucosal in space. And we often move back away with the colonoscope so that we can see the entire picture develop and decide when we've got just the right amount. The amount is determined by how everything looks and is it optimal, not the number of mLs of fluid that we've injected. That's not of concern at all. What's of concern is that we get the best concentration of the mound to perform the procedure optimally.